Hey folks, Scald Eagle here. I'm a jammer for Denver Roller Derby's Mile High Club, Team USA, and have previously played for Portland's Rose City Rollers. So I'm here with Bont to talk today about the Bont Super B, which is a bit of a throwback style. As you can see here, the number 75 has nothing to do with your number on your jersey, but more to do with throwback to the original iteration of some of the history and tradition of Bont. So that's what that's about. As far as the performance of this boot, wanted to make some key distinctions about the Bont Super B in comparison to the Bont Hybrid Carbon. Both versions are roller derby specific boots in the lineup of quad roller skate boots that Bont offers, and want to kind of talk today about some of the key components that they have in similarity and some big differences that they have in their performance and their feel to help you make the choice between the two. One of the big or key similarities is that both are at a very similar price point. So I'm sure you're in there looking like, well, if they're the same cost, what's special about them versus the other? So let's dive into that. So the Bont Super B is a much more beefy front toe constructed boot. So both in the Hybrid Carbon and in the Bont Super B, impact to the toe area has been taken into account. So you really want to be thinking about how much space do you prefer up in that front toe box when it comes to the two, or even in comparison to the Quad Racer Carbon. So like the Hybrid Carbon, the Super B is fully heat moldable, has an anatomically designed last, so it's anatomical in the way that it's designed. It also has a vastly improved / derby specific forefoot. I am going to talk a little bit about some of the differences between this particular forefoot and the Hybrid Carbon's forefoot, because both of those are quite different from the Quad Racer Carbon. And I want to talk a little bit about the difference especially in the feel of the shape of like the shaft of the boot, and the heel cup area of this boot, in my opinion, is quite different from the Hybrid Carbon or the Quad Racer Carbon. So let's dive into that a little bit. When I put my foot into this boot, I feel like I'm putting my foot more into like a sneaker or a tennis shoe. Whereas when I'm putting my foot into the Hybrid Carbon or the Quad Racer Carbon, it feels like I'm putting my foot more into like a rock climbing shoe or a ballet shoe or like a wrestling boot. I've never wrestled, but I'm assuming that's what they feel like. But this one, it's got a much more cavernous interior, in my opinion. So if you find that you have really struggled with derby boots being too tight around like this part of your foot, this boot I think is going to be an excellent choice, because it's going to have much more space in the shaft of the foot. Not that it can't be tightened or like locked down on any type of foot, but I find that there's much more cushioning along the interior layers of the Bont Super B versus the Hybrid Carbon. So that's something to consider on what your preferences are feeling wise. Performance wise, I feel like there's not going to be a huge difference in like the kind of performance you're going to get from either boot. I specifically skate in the Quad Racer Carbon, or I'd be more in line with the Hybrid Carbon boot, just because I prefer that tight, almost claustrophobic feeling along my foot. But I think that this is going to be a great boot for people who have found that too constrictive, too pinching, right? There can be, so it is possible to have some boots along the shaft of the boot cause so much constriction that it like cuts off the blood flow to the toes. So you definitely don't want that. This particular Super B has a lot going on in the forefoot. It's in my opinion even beefier in the forefoot area than the Hybrid Carbon. So you got that rubber bumper on the Hybrid Carbon, and they have beefed up like the internal workings of that boot, but this one's got, in my opinion, even extra layer on top of that. So it's got 3 panels of protection a long, and there's extra carbon in the forefoot to help with impact, so that, if you're getting stepped on, it's not killing your day. So I don't think there's a derby skater alive who hasn't endured a stubbed toe that then makes the rest of that practice or that bout definitely interesting. So it's very cool that Bont has taken that into consideration. Just like the hybrid carbon, you can get the Super B in semi-custom construction. So this particular look here with the red, white, and blue and the black is the stock model. So this is what you can get right off the shelf and not have to wait for it to come to your door. But if you want to semi-custom order your colors, you can choose from all of those Duralite colors or leather colors in order to custom doodly-doop your Super B setup. So that of course takes much longer, that our order needs to go off and they need to construct it. Even with COVID right now, sometimes shipping can be an interesting detail. So on the other hand, no derby is happening. So now is a great time to order, because there's an indefinite amount of time to wait for new boots to be constructed to your specific make and model that you prefer. So with that said, a lot of people are getting into roller skating right now, just out and about. This is going to be an excellent option for trail skating or, any type of recreational skating as well, especially if you're looking for that, comfy boot feel. This is a high level boot. It does have that fully carbon base. So, I mean, it's one of the reasons why it's at the same price point as the hybrid carbon, is that it is also made of the same level carbon. It's got that exposed heel cup, and you're going to get excellent energy transfer in this boot to your plates and wheels as much as you would in the hybrid carbon, simply because it's got that really incredible stiff base. Despite being more cavernous in the interior of this particular boot, in my opinion, it still has an excellent heel area to help lock your heel down. You can see there's quite a vast difference between the shape of the top rim of this boot and the interior as compared to the hybrid carbon. And it's got its own heel pillows that kind of wrap around the Achilles tendon so that it can't come up and out of the boot. Super B roller derby boot has a taller shaft here, so that taller height of that boot is going to help you not come out of the boot. You certainly could, I suppose, get the speed skating version of this boot and use it in derby, but you're definitely going to have to take more precaution to make sure you don't have heel slippage. Either model are going to have the heat moldable ability to squeeze that heel cup in place with some heat molding, get that really tight around the ankle so you're not getting heel slippage. On this model that I have in my hands here today, I got them mounted on a pair of black Athenas with the 95A Evolve wheels. I did this up this way because it's super snaz looking, and whatever surface you find you're going to be skating on most, make sure that you're getting the right wheel appropriate for that. For a lot of skating right now that I know people have access to because of COVID related hindrances, a lot of people are skating on polished concretes outdoors. So 95A is not going to be the ticket for that. You're going to want the blue, which would also go well with this color scheme, 88A for polished concrete. So something to think about. This is an obscure reference, but I have an ice hockey background, and I don't know why, but growing up, there was always two camps people seemed to fit in. You were either a Bauer skater or a CCM skater, and the Bauer people, myself included, had long, skinny feet, and the CCM people had more square, boxy, wide feet. And I feel like that is the literal best reference I can make as far as the difference between the hybrid carbon or the quad racer carbon and the Bont Super B. So the Bauer long, skinny feet people, you're gonna, I feel, have better luck with the hybrid carbon. And for those of you with more wide, square type foot, you're gonna love the Super B. So obviously these video references to give to you can only try to convince you with words, but if you're ever in an opportunity to try them on and feel the difference between the Super B and the hybrid before you purchase, that's always, of course, the best case scenario. Yeah, if you're at RollerCon, see if you can feel the difference, because they are definitely extremely different feeling boots, in my opinion. I think it's just so cool that Bont has taken that into consideration within their own line, that, you know, their boots are, between the different styles, are going to hit a much wider breadth of foot types out there. So, you know, you don't need to go to a different brand entirely to find the boot that's going to work for your foot type most. I really do believe that Bont does a great job of providing options to fit the whole family. One other random note that would be applicable both for the Super B or the hybrid carbon or quad racer carbon is that, in my opinion, all of these boots have a relatively flat insole. So if you're a person with a super high arch, you're definitely going to want to get a personalized insole to accommodate your high arch. With that said, this boot specifically, I do feel like has quite a bit of elasticity or give in the material of the uppers, so that if you are putting a large insole in there, you're gonna have enough coverage to accommodate that level of insole. Both the Super B and the hybrid carbon can be ordered in wide, narrow, or regular last, so that's something to consider too when you're trying to match whatever possible orthotic you might have that needs to go into the boot. Something to think about as far as like what your setup is. I personally am quite flat-footed, so these work great just kind of out of the box for me. The insoles that they come with are decent, but I also often will add insoles of my own just because derby, especially with as many lapses that we're doing, I will wear through different types of insoles. So something to think about no matter what boot you're getting. So there you have it. Thank you for checking out the Bont Super B.